wish upon a star. Makes no difference who you are. Anyone you'd like to hear will come to you. Bonjour again! Now we're going to explore some Beauty and the Beast characters. Starting with Cogsworth. Cogsworth runs the Beast Castle. It's his job to keep everything in order and make sure the Beast remains happy. He takes this job seriously, and as such often comes across as rather stern and bossy. Although his desire to abide strictly by the rules often puts him at odds with Lumiere, and the two are actually very close friends. Cogsworth is not against having fun. He does, however, try to avoid doing anything that may anger the Beast. Cogsworth is loyal to his master, but his loyalty seems largely tied to fear of the Beast's temper. In spite of this, Cogsworth does display a fondness for the Beast and often takes it upon himself to provide his master with a much-needed ego boost. Here is Lumiere. This candelabrum is one of the most welcoming enchanted objects in the Beast Castle. He eagerly invites Maurice to seek refuge in the castle and later treats Belle to a fantastic feast against the orders of his master. Although he clearly cares about the Beast, Lumiere is also rather rebellious. He prefers to do things his own way, no matter what others may think or what orders he may have given. In spite of this, the Beast often turns to Lumiere for advice, particularly on matters of the heart. Lumiere is in love with the idea of love. Although he doesn't seem to fully understand it, he remains more helpful than most that the Beast will one day find love and that the enchanted objects will be transformed back into humans. But to be more honest, I kind of like it when they're enchanted objects that talk. In fact, that's what I see most of in the movie, and I'm kind of used to it. No offense, though. Here is Belle. Despite her beauty, Belle is considered an outsider in her town. Her love of reading and unwavering devotion to her eccentric father, Maurice, make her what the townspeople consider odd, but that doesn't mean they don't like her. Belle is exceedingly kind. She always has something nice to say and cheerily greets everyone in town each morning. Belle dreams of something bigger than life in her small town. She wants adventure, like those she reads about in her books. Belle also knows what she doesn't want, to be a housewife to the boorish Gaston, no matter how hard he tries to change her mind. In fact, Belle's mind is one thing she is very sure of, and she is not afraid to share her opinion with anyone. Clever and strong-willed, Belle will stand up for herself no matter what, but her status as a town outsider has also taught her to look past what is on the surface and see the best in people, even the seemingly horrible Beast.
Did you know that?
Belle is the only main character in her village who wears blue. The animators thought this would accentuate how out of place that she is. And Belle's name means beautiful in French.
Now you know.
That's Maurice. Maurice is generally considered the town kook. No offense. The villagers don't understand what drives this eccentric inventor and tends to look down on him. But Maurice doesn't care. He is proud of his inventions and is sure that he will someday come up with something that will change his family's life for the better. The only thing Maurice loves more than inventing is his daughter, Belle. Maurice considers Belle to be his greatest accomplishment. He is exceedingly proud of the woman she has grown into and often tells her that she is perfect no matter what others may say. That's Philippe, Belle's trusty horse. Philippe is really more like a family member than a pet. He seems able to understand Belle when she speaks to him, and it is he who leads her to the Beast's castle to rescue Maurice. But as loyal as Philippe may be to his family, he is also easily frightened, particularly by wolves. He flees the first time he encounters them, leaving Maurice stranded in the woods. When wolves attack him a second time, he bucks, dropping Belle into the snow by mistake. Here is Gaston. Big and brawny, this oversized hunter has an equally oversized ego. He is sure he's better than everyone else, and he's not afraid who knows it. Luckily for Gaston, most of the townspeople seem to agree. Gaston is the town hero. The only person put off by Gaston's arrogance is Belle, the very woman he wishes to marry. Gaston believes that a woman's primary purpose is to have and raise children. He does not believe women should have ideas of their own, and particularly frowns on the idea of reading, as it distracts them from more important things, like flattering him. Unfortunately for him, Belle disagrees. This does not sit well with Gaston, who is not used to hearing the word no.
Did you know that?
Gaston eats 5 dozen eggs each day. That's around 4,680 calories just in eggs. And it is unclear whether Gaston is the character's first or last name, or even middle.
Now you know.
Here's Le Fou. Although he comes across as a bit of a bumbling fool, Le Fou is actually quite clever. In fact, it is he who tricks Maurice into telling the villagers about the beast. In spite of Gaston's negative treatment of him, Le Fou is loyal to his friend. He looks up to Gaston as his hero, and does as he is told, usually without question. But that doesn't mean Le Fou is above making fun of Gaston. He's been known on occasion to laugh at or make snarky comments about his friend, although he usually gets hit by Gaston as a result. That's Monsieur d'Arc, proprietor of the local mental hospital, Aslem de Lunes. Monsieur d'Arc is a cold, callous man who seems to take pleasure in other people's pain. He is also driven by greed. In exchange for proper compensation, he happily signs on to Gaston's plan to lock up Maurice in the asylum unless Belle agrees to marry Gaston. Later, Monsieur d'Arc assures Belle that Maurice will be well taken care of. But the sinister way he says it implies that his inmates may be subject to some very poor treatment indeed. These are the Bimbettes. These identical triplets live in the same village as Belle and work as waitresses in a local tavern. The 3 are infatuated with Gaston and dream of marrying their hero, even if he barely seems to know they exist, like Gaston, who admires Belle solely for her beauty. The Bimbettes seem more focused on Gaston's appearance than on his behavior. They think Belle is crazy for not admiring him the way they do, and they continue to pursue him in spite of his determination to marry Belle. This is the Enchantress. The Enchantress possesses incredible powers. She is able to transform both herself and others into different forms and can also see people's true feelings and desires. It was her reading of the prince as a selfish young man that motivated her to visit him and ultimately curse his entire castle. But the Enchantress is not without sympathy and clearly believes in second chances. It is for this reason that she grants the beast a way to break the curse, learning to love and being loved in return. Now here is the beast. Angry and rather violent, the beast is at first glance just what his name implies, a beast. As a human prince, he was selfish and cold-hearted. It was these traits that brought on the Enchantress's curse, and his years of isolation in his palace have not helped him soften him. If anything, his anger at his inability to break the curse and shame at his monstrous appearance have hardened him even more. The beast is stubborn, gruff, quick to anger, and completely lacking in manners, but there is more hiding beneath the surface. In spite of his short temper, the beast can actually be quite kind. He has been shown to have an incredibly gentle nature toward animals, including birds and horses, and he has a loving relationship with many of his servants. The more the beast gets to know Belle, the more he wishes to make her feel welcome in his home. He gives Belle his library simply because he knows it will make her happy, and he later allows her to leave the castle even though he knows it will likely result in his remaining a beast forever.
Did you know that?
The beast's appearance draws inspiration from the mane of a lion, the head of a buffalo, the brow of a gorilla, the tusks of a wild boar, the legs and tail of a wolf, and the body of a bear. And some of the sculptures seen in the castle are early concept versions of the beast.
Now you know.
That's the wardrobe. The wardrobe resides in Belle's bedroom and often serves as a sounding board for Belle. She tries to convince Belle that the beast is not as bad as he seems and is instrumental in getting Belle ready for her dinner with the beast. The wardrobe lives her fashion and has the clothes to prove it. Her drawers contain something for every occasion and jewels to match. Like the other enchanted objects, the wardrobe dreams of breaking the curse and returning to her human form. That's Chip. A little teacup with a chip in his rim. Chip is one of Belle's closest friends in the castle. The two love to explore together. Chip is quite young and has retained his childish curiosity about the world. He's full of questions and always ready for adventure. He also has an incredibly active imagination. So much so that his mother at first didn't believe him when he told her that there was a girl in the castle. In spite of his age and size, Chip is very brave. He even goes so far as to stow away in Belle's bag when she leaves the castle, and it is he who rescues Belle and Maurice when they are locked up by an angry mob. And this is Mrs. Potts. Mrs. Potts is the castle's housekeeper. Along with Cogsworth, she keeps the castle running. Intelligent and level-headed, Mrs. Potts is perhaps the most reliable of the enchanted objects. She can always be counted on to do the right thing, regardless of any orders that she may have received from the beast. She's also the only member of the household who is willing to stand up to her master for his poor behavior. The beast respects her for this and often changes his behavior as a result of her scolding. But it is not just the beast she keeps in line. Mrs. Potts is not afraid to call out the other members of the castle staff or her son Chip when they're doing something she doesn't approve of. Of all the enchanted objects, Mrs. Potts seemed to understand the most about love. She takes Belle under her wing and carefully guides her toward liking and eventually loving the beast.
Did you know that?
There are at least 6 enchanted teacups besides Chip, but it is not clear if they are all Mrs. Potts' children. Mrs. Potts makes a small cameo as a non-enchanted teapot at Jane Porter's camp in Tarzan. She also appears in The Lion King 1.5, and there is a topiary shaped like her in Meet the Robinsons. And Mrs. Potts' husband isn't shown.
Now you know.
And that's all I got for Beauty and the Beast. Join me next time, and we'll have a big heroic time with characters from Big Hero 6.